From the developers famous for opening more worlds than Galactus and Rayman, comes another entry in the series that tries to teach you history in the stabbiest way possible. But this time it's pretty much exactly the same as the last two. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Dive into the historical liberties of Valhalla and experience another era of humanity by murdering half of the people alive in it as you leave the arid deserts of Egypt and the horniness of Greece for the frozen tundras of Norway and the juicy monk-filled utopia of Anglo-Saxon England. In another absolutely massive 100-hour open world sprinkled with a dash of RPG elements. That, aside from a few quality of life changes like not having to watch yourself cross an entire ocean, is the same tower climbing, bird scouting, dude stabbing, ship sailing, gear upgrading game that you've come to expect. But now there's a mechanic where you can punch someone in the face over and over. Who says Ubisoft doesn't innovate? Don the ancient Jansport of Eivor, a Viking Drenger seeking revenge for the death of their father after getting thrown off a cliff. Because that's all Ubisoft seems to have going in terms of origin stories. Who immediately gets their vengeance before the opening credits even hit, while the story twists itself into knots to paint the Raven clan as likable good guys, despite the fact that you're constantly torching villages and looting monasteries, where you still desync if you do any actual Viking stuff like kill civilians. So you just kind of file out peacefully after you've taken all their goods and slaughtered their guards. And the whole assassin thing is introduced by having some random Arab guys show up and teach you for no particular reason. While the unbearable frame story has gone to some wild place about a worldwide electromagnetic crisis that involves coronavirus somehow, in a narrative that feels like it's completely lost the thread on the identity of the series. Do you know what? If this is what you need to do to justify making a massive AAA Viking game, I say go with Odin. Explore the vast wilds of Norway and England as you button press your way over mountains, lakes, and rivers in a climbing system that feels like it could be a little faster now that you're climbing a whole mountain half the time, while your ADD-addled mind makes a beeline towards whatever shiny marker you might be close to, and you accidentally single-handedly raid forts without even really meaning to, while hunting for a book that teaches you to throw axes good, run into a level 90 boss fight with a demonic ghost in a level 20 area for some reason, or just burn somebody's house down so she can get off with her husband.
I am as hard as Heimdall's tower!
Then get the boys together for some good old-fashioned pillaging, until you eventually remember there are story missions 20 hours later, and use the spoils to build a house for the weird guy who hangs out in your town and cosplays as a Roman. Well, if you think about it, it's like Animal Crossing. A very, very violent Animal Crossing. Chop into the biggest draw of Valhalla, the battle system, as new mechanics and talents spice up the generic combat of the previous couple games, with stamina and guard break systems that make you actually pay attention in fights, unless you're like 20 levels above the zone, at which point you're an all-conquering god, with a giant Path of Exile-esque skill tree that you don't actually need to pay much attention to, increased weapon variety and everyone's favorite sequel upgrade, dual wielding, and a huge loadout of theatrical super moves that will have you whirling around like a dervish. And of course, the tried and true AC method of hiding in a bush and whistling guys over one by one. You know, the way Vikings fought. As the game feels like it's constantly trying to push you away from the part of itself where it's an Assassin's Creed game. Especially when one of the mechanics is to blow a horn and have 12 dudes with axes show up to have your back. Look, you can call me picky, but I feel like the antithesis of stealth is literally screaming while throwing a torch into a longhouse. So sharpen that hidden blade and get ready to honk your war horn for a game that feels like an amalgamation of every open world on the market that doesn't quite shake the feeling that it's just another Assassin's Creed game, but is still an improvement on the formula and a heaping helping of content to chew through in your 4,000th month of quarantine. Sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and tick boxes off a list for a while. And you also don't want to play Genshin Impact. Starring Aloy, Geralt of Scandinavia, Hiccup Horrendous, Santana, Lord Farquaad. Look guys, there's a whole lot more Vikings. Not to be Vikist, but I feel like I've been playing this game my entire life and they all look the same to me now. And oh shit.
Do you think it is a serious wound?
Axon's Creed, Guy of War. Unfortunately, while this game has Ivar the Boneless, we never get a cameo from the Viking we really want to see.